Are we live?
We're live, Ruben.
Is this what our voices really sound like?
Not only is this what our voices sound like, but this is what our faces look like.
Uh-huh.
For all of our diehard listeners of this Rocky podcast, this is the Rocky Series podcast, Going the Distance. I am Ryan.
I'm Ruben.
And we haven't done a live recording in some time, Ruben. There might be a reason for that. One, we're completely incapable of pulling off a live show without doing ums and ahs. And these are the things that I edit out. But I figured, let's do it. Let's go live.
Warts and all.
And so we have to record anyways. Like, we have to do a recording.
Mm-hmm.
This is our time tonight to record a new episode. So I figured if people want to watch what we look like when we record an episode, this is what it is. This is what it looks like.
Yeah, and according to people watching, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12, 24, 0.
We have zero views. So thank you. Thank you for everyone to watching the Rocky Series podcast.
Us viewing us is more than who's
we got one viewer. Hey.
Oh, they left.
Okay, they left. All right. Well, hey, that's okay. We to be fair, Ruben, it's 8:30 at the night Pacific Coast time. That means it's 11:30 in New York.
But it's Friday night.
That means it's like 11:30 in the UK. So, But anyways, we want to welcome everyone to the Rocky Series podcast, Going the Distance. Today's episode is episode 90. So even though episode 89 hasn't been released yet on our podcast, this is like a free Patreon episode. People. There's other podcasts where people pay money to see their hosts record live. Mm-hmm. Here you get to do for free.
Wow.
You get to watch Ryan and Ruben for free. Hey guys, that's from Matt Biller. What up, brother? See, this is what happens. You come on the show, you can interact with Ryan and Ruben. So this is a really great episode. We are going to be covering the funeral for Apollo, may he rest in peace, and Rocky's press conference thereafter. To our left, my left, your right, viewers, we have on our Blu-ray the movie that we'll play, and then we'll watch it. You might be able to hear it, and then we'll talk about what we're seeing. And that's how we record our shows live. I mean, that's how we record our shows. But when you hear the edited version on our iTunes or whatever, I'm deleting all the pauses while we're watching the movie. So anyways, there you go. Ruben, how you doing?
Good. Better than I'm here.
Ruben looks fantastic. Ruben is on this keto diet. I'm on the keto diet, and we're both losing our, I'm looking thinner. You're looking thinner? You look fantastic.
I'm 20 pounds lighter.
I'm 20 pounds lighter as well.
Yeah.
Yes, Matt, we can definitely be friends. Absolutely. Matt, why don't you tell us where you're from? So last episode, Ruben, we had...
Sorry, I just got this joke now. I hope
after we can be friends. Yes, sorry, LaMilla said that to Mrs. Creed. I too hope, Matt, that after this podcast we can be friends. The episode before this one, which hasn't been released yet, is the episode where we did that recording with the Slycast, Craig Cohen, and Rocky Minute, Doug Greenberg. We reviewed Assassins. So the episode that we recorded before this one, on the Rocky IV movie, was of course the Rocky IV fight, the death of Apollo in the ring by the hands of Ivan Drago. Speaking of which, Ruben, they released a new featurette.
I know.
Did you watch it?
No.
Okay, so Ruben doesn't watch trailers. He doesn't watch the trailers.
I'm going to see the movie.
Right. Hello, Peter. Hello, Trisha.
I already know I'm going to see the movie, so why do I need to watch the trailers?
So Ruben hasn't watched the trailer, but those who have saw the new featurette, there was some extra scenes where Drago spoke. So I hope I'm not spoiling anything for you.
Yeah. I don't know if I'll see Creed 2 or not.
I got some mixed reactions from this featurette because one, Kyle Peterson, our guest host, he mentioned to me online, he said that he didn't like Drago's accent. He wasn't crazy about Dolph Lundgren's accent. Whatever. It was one line. He talked to Rocky, and he said to Rocky basically, he's
probably well-traveled since then. People lose their accents or they get influenced.
That's true. He would lose his accent over 30 years.
Yeah, it's 30 years ago.
Sure.
Live in the now, Kyle.
Kyle, come on, man. So Kyle doesn't listen to the show. He only listens to the episodes that he guest hosts on. So I could talk trash about him because he doesn't even listen to the show. Anyways, so there was a little bit of criticism on Drago's accent, and there was one scene that I think caused me the first indication that I wasn't that crazy about what we can expect in the movie. I hope plug your ears if you want. Victor Drago says to Adonis, "I will break you tomorrow," or something like that. So he says the same thing that Drago said. Okay, Ruben, we're good. So kind of hokey, but we'll see. Lastly, though, last little plug here. Mike Kunda, a good friend, Mike Kunda of the Yo Rocky Film Tour. He has a friend who saw the film, and his friend, who is also a huge Rocky fan, said that Rocky fans have nothing to worry about. The movie is fantastic. Everyone does a great job. It's emotional. It's powerful. So the earliest review we've received so far, and it's from a reliable source. Again, Mike Kunda of the Old Rocky Film Tour, a good friend of our show.
And Mike Kunda is in the movie.
Yeah, well, like
he's an extra.
He's an extra.
Yeah.
Well, Mike Kunda, Creed 2 starring Mike Kunda. Anyways, his friend gave it a glowing review. So there you go. Right now, it's 100% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes.
As long as Bridget Nielsen's in it,
I think she is. I think she has. Yes. Bridget Nielsen has a guest.
Bridget.
Do
I say it wrong?
I could say it wrong. I don't know. Bridget Nielsen, Bucksme Bridget. She's sorry. She's a fantastic woman. She's credited on IMDb. Same with Milo Vitro, whatever his name is. He's in it too. So according to the cast list. Okay.
Fantastic. Giving the fans what they want.
All right, so let's just dive into Rocky IV, the funeral scene. If you actually go to our YouTube channel, I talk about this scene on our YouTube channel. I talk about the fact that behind the statue, there's two actors who are blurred out in this scene. So go ahead on our YouTube channel, find my discussion about this scene, and I won't go over it again right now, but there's two people who are blurred out, and people are saying, oh, it's just a camera angle or something like that, but
no, that's blurring.
It's blurring. I know. It looks like these guys are blurred out. So I don't know if these guys... And then you have an old guy looking at the camera. Like, he's looking at the camera. There's no reason why he should be looking over here. Like, you could argue, well, maybe he's just looking at people walking around the grave site.
Sure, yeah.
But he's looking directly at an extra is looking right at the camera.
Well, maybe he's not. Maybe it just looks that way. I had a customer who said, hey, I saw you at the pool. And I was wondering who was staring at me. I'm like... And then I realized it was you. And I was like, I wasn't wearing my glasses. And she's like, yeah? I'm like, I wasn't staring at you.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I could not see the person, so I'm not staring. So perhaps a man of that age should be wearing spectacles.
That's true. I actually wear glasses as well. Not like I can see like up close just fine, but just for like fine definition. So if somebody's 20 feet away, I can't make out their facial features of if I know them or not. No. This happens a lot to me. I'm in the Navy. And I walk by a lot of people, and I have to get really close before I can make it. Because if they're 20 feet away, I'm not like this.
Why don't you just wear glasses all the time then?
Actually, yours look really sharp on you, and I'm cheap, and I have these like free...
These are cheap. This is Zenny. I spent like under $100 on these.
Oh, that's a lot of money.
Oh, please. Hey,
right.
So, anyways, back to the funeral scene. People are being blurred out. It could be JFK. It could be Elvis, who wanted to be in the movie.
Well,
start your conspiracy theories now.
One is a white fellow, one's a black fellow. So I don't think it could be Black Elvis. I think there's a Black Elvis. So what I find interesting about this funeral scene,
but they're tall. Look how tall they are.
I think they're on an elevated. So go to the Rocky funeral scene on YouTube and go on our channel. You'll see what I'm talking about on the YouTube channel, the Rocky Series podcast, Going the Distance. But also what I find interesting about the funeral party, it's a really weird setup because a lot of movies do funerals. But they really cheaped out on this funeral scene. It's a back shot. There's only like 8, 9, 10 people in the scene. You don't even see Apollo's wife in this scene. The actress that plays Apollo's wife, she's not even there. Now, there is a black woman in all in black, wearing a black hat. But even you can tell that's not the actress that plays Mrs. Creed. You have an older couple, probably his father, maybe his mother. And then you have Rocky. You have Tony and Rocky.
Perhaps she knew that he was stepping out on her.
Yeah, maybe she found out about the cheating. Because during this time, right now, during Apollo's funeral, baby Adonis is a bun in the oven right now.
Mm-hmm.
What a beautiful story. I love how Creed exists. The fact that the series Creed exists because Apollo fooled around. Let's give it up for Apollo. May he rest in peace.
Terrible.
Apollo, you know, there's no other way to say it. Like, this is Apollo's kid. Now, you could argue that he had kids that survived. I love how the kids that are actually in his family aren't even in the Creed movie.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah,
They're living different lives.
sure, maybe.
How often do you see our uncles? There are half sibling uncles and aunts.
I don't know. Hey, somebody just laughed. Someone just did the laugh symbol on our page, on our video. Hey, whoever laughed, what did you think was funny? us in general, or what I said about it, Apollo? Anyways, so let's now get into the dialogue here. Rocky says here, there's a lot I could say about this man. But as we know, Rocky's not a man of few words. This guy talks all the time. But during Apollo's funeral, he chooses to be a man of few words.
Let's keep the story going. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't know if it matters now. I guess what matters is what he stood for. What is it for? He died for.
Okay. So Rocky's saying here he's a man of few words, and he says that all that matters now is what he lived for and what he died for. Okay. I'm gonna be hypercritical here because we discussed this during his fight when he did die against Ivan Drago. Why did he not stop the fight? Not Rocky, but why didn't Apollo? Why didn't the ref? Why didn't a lot of people stop this fight? Why did Apollo continue to allow himself to be beaten to a pulp? And so what did he die for, Rube? If Apollo came out of the grave right now to talk to Rocky and said, "This is why I died," so Rocky is insinuating that he died for some reason. What did he die for? For his country?
well, I think it's back to the last episode that I was in, as you all can remember.
Oh wait, people are talking. I think below here.
Oh, look
Oh,
at that.
I'm sorry.
Belgium.
Hey, so let's just say hi to our people listening. I apologize,
Hey,
guys.
Peter.
Woods from Belgium.
I've been to Belgium.
Really?
I had some waffles there. Had some baguettes.
Okay, sorry about that, guys. I didn't realize that as people comment, it scrolls down. It's been so long since we've done this. Hey, Bob O'Rourke, one of our many fans. Bob, regarding Paul's funeral, anyone have an idea why there's that? Yeah, okay, so Bob brought up. See, Bob's on our side, Ruben.
Yeah.
There's, again, go to the Rocky Page Podcast YouTube channel.
Hold on a second.
And I talk about this. I can't say this enough. People are joining in now. That there's two or three people that are blurred out, and it's so weird why they're blurred out. Maybe I can ask Derek Wayne Johnson again to talk to Sly.
It's a valid question.
It is a valid question. Anyways, Doug, how you doing? Doug from the Rocky Minute. We love you, brother. As always, I love Doug. Like, love.
Yeah, keep it real.
Okay, so why did Apollo? What did Apollo die for? Do we know? Does anyone have an idea?
Well, what I was saying before is, I think that's just who he is. Like,
Bullheaded.
He wanted to do it. Remember the whole speech he gave to Rock?
Yeah, he said that if the warrior doesn't have a fight or something, he may as well be dead. Well, Apollo, you don't have a fight anymore. Basically, Apollo died because he's an incapable boxer. That is why he died. He died because he's not able to box in his prime anymore. Time beat Apollo, just like Rocky said in Creed Part 1. Yeah, but not time alone. Like pride, bullheadedness. Hey, Gail. Gail saying hi. That's Kyle's mom. Hey, Gail, we love your son, Kyle. He's awesome. He's one of the greatest guest hosts I've ever had next to Doug Greenberg. They're tied. Doug is pretty handsome, though, so I'm sorry, Kyle. All right, let's go. Let's go to the next part of this funeral eulogy that Rocky's giving.
The eulogy.
Yeah.
You always did everything the way you wanted it.
True. You always did everything the way you
I
wanted
did
it.
it my way.
I didn't understand that, but
Well, the piano music during his funeral is terrible.
Hey, isn't he a friend of the show?
The piano music?
Yeah.
Oh, it's Vince Nicole. I know, but it's the Vince is talented. I'm just saying this musical piano part. It's kind of, I don't know. I don't know if Vince wrote that. I apologize, Vince. You're awesome. But if you actually listen to the piano part during this funeral, I think an orchestral swell might have been more fitting. That's just me. It sounds too light on its foot. I don't know. Anyways, so I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means.
Of course you do.
No, I don't know what light on your foot means. I have no idea.
Do you know what a split diopter
Okay, sorry.
shots means? I'm sure I'm pronouncing it wrong. So the
So
reason
what
why,
are you
according to Reddit,
Okay, so Reddit brings up this question.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, somebody talked about this, and I don't understand it, but Ruben, go ahead and explain what somebody on Reddit said happened during this blurred out scene.
apparently it's a split diopter shot. So diopter shot.
Okay, we're losing people.
Yeah. That's why you want to be educated or stay in the dark. It's up to you. I guess Google what that is. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a feathered edge. It's a defocus.
It doesn't make sense. So even if it's this thing, even if it was intentional, and Sylvester Stallone, who's the director of Rocky IV, even if it was intentional, I don't
Imagine if you're those guys.
Yeah, they were extras in the
You're
film.
like, that was me. That was me. I'd be so cheap.
So I don't get what the feathering is. So if somebody can explain
You know what?
be feathered in a film means and why they would do that here.
If you're an adult, if you were an adult when Rocky IV came out, say that was you. Nobody's gonna know.
Yeah, no, that was me blurred out.
That was
there.
me. I was in Rocky IV.
So if the guy,
Sly was such a nice guy. He was so good to everybody.
if the guys that were blurred out are watching this podcast, can you tell us? And we'd love to interview you. What your experiences were like when you saw this in the theater. You're like, hey, you're like,
I think it was Mike Kunda. Come to think of it,
yeah, it could have been Kunda.
I think it was.
Okay, so Ray Blanchett said that because Apollo thought it was East against West, us against them. Yeah, he did mention that, and we talked about that in our previous episode. But worth dying for, look, there's no country I hate so much that I'm willing to die in the ring.
No, but I think inside,
I don't.
he had to go the distance, just like Rock did.
Well, because of Apollo's death, we again have Creed and Creed 2.
And also helps the storyline move forward.
I'll tell you this much. Oh, Ruben, this occurred to me.
Go on.
I know why Apollo wanted to die in the ring.
Not pay child support?
His love mistress called him that day to say that she was pregnant with his child. And it's either his wife's going to kill him or Drago. So when Apollo turned to look at his wife in the ring and he was like, just before he died, that's why I say, it ain't going to be you. I'm literally going to my grave with this secret.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Apollo, you know what? Again, Apollo, you're genius. And so now Rocky knows, because now Rocky says, I know why you died. Rocky knows about Adonis here. He goes, now I know why you did it. I would have done it too, Anyways, that's so Rocky says here, I'll never forget you, Apollo. Okay. We find out in Creed 1 that Rocky and Mrs. Creed never spoke since this eulogy. I think it was since this funeral, Rocky and Mrs. Creed have never spoken. Weird, eh?
Yeah. It is weird.
So, but maybe Apollo and Rocky were close, but maybe the spouses weren't close. Okay. All right. Ray Blanchett goes on to say, Apollo thought if someone else steps in and beats him, then where does that leave us? Yeah. So he was very passionate about beating Drago first, or in general. That didn't work out for Apollo, and he died in the process. We're at the funeral now, and Rocky now leaves the. He says, "I'll never forget you, Apollo," and he leaves his championship belt on the casket. Now, are we to believe, Ruben, like this is ceremonial that he's leaving the belt that he won from Apollo, right, in Rocky 2, that he is now the champion of the world. Right here, he's still the champion of the world. But Rocky's leaving the belt. So Rocky leaves the belt on the casket. Does he leave it there for good?
He might have, but the funeral director might be like...
you don't leave that championship belt. Either was taken after the viewing, because they were all walking away and the belt's still there.
It's pretty, speaking of light on your feet, it's pretty a frilly belt.
I don't know what you mean by light on your feet. Why do you keep saying that now?
Oh, you brought it up.
I know I brought it up, but you've used it again. It's a very frilly setup.
Well, frilly, it would be light, wouldn't it? Well, as a boxer, you gotta be light on your feet. You gotta be light on your feet.
That's the analogy.
It's a boxing term.
It's a boxing metaphor.
Yeah.
Be light on your feet. It means you're a boxer. It means nothing else. It means nothing else.
Not that there's anything wrong with it.
Not that there's anything wrong with being a boxer. Yeah, Doug, we're getting to that. Jeez, man. So Doug just said, okay, I'm not going to say what Doug said because for the iTunes listeners, it's not important. Doug, I'm not going to talk about that right now. Don't bury the lead. You know better. I'm going to block him from my page. Okay, I'm just bugging you, Doug. But yes, we're going to find out what happens to the belt in just a second. I'm just literally about to hit play. Okay, so they're walking away from the funeral. The zooms in on the belt. Magazine Award World Heavyweight Championship. So now we got some magazines coming out as Fast and Furious. Rolling Stone magazine.
Of course.
People protest against Apollo's killer.
Have you ever been in a protest?
I've never been in a protest.
You didn't do the walkout during the Kuwait War?
If I did, it was just to get out of school.
I did it, and I was like,
I've never done a protest. And bless anyone's heart for that freedom of that you have in the countries that allow it. Our North Korea listeners.
Yeah. We got some Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, we have some Saudi. We've had a China download.
Yeah.
Bless you, China. Anyway, so this says here, people protest against Apollo's kill. What's the protest? We don't like him. Okay, well, you're not supposed to. Yeah, it's a great point, Ray. Ray says he's leaving the belt because nothing matters at that point. Apollo was gone, and it didn't matter at that point. But we, as a viewer, you have to admit, Ray, like this is we're multiple viewers. A lot of us here are, who watch this or listen to this podcast. I've seen this movie 100 times. We know what's coming next. But as a first-time viewer, I think we're just led to believe it's a gesture of like, this is our connection. This is how we met. But we don't really believe that Rocky at this second is giving all this up. But we're about to find out now because he's at a press conference, and the reporter just asked, Rocky, is the decision final? What decision that is, we're about to find out. And his answer is yes.
Speaking of people that have never watched this before,
right?
My wife.
Oh yeah, you want to talk about that?
It's just a little plug. She's seen 1 and 6, but nothing else, and it was 10 years ago, so
right.
She didn't remember it. So she's watching all the Rockies. She doesn't watch this podcast or listen to it.
Yeah. No, that was my wife.
Yeah. So, long story short, she's saying, "Hey, this is what I remember it to be. This is what I think that happens."
Right.
Then watches it, and then her impression of what she watched, then the next one. So she's about to watch Rocky 4. She's probably watching it right now.
That's awesome. So we're gonna release this as an episode in a future episode. Ruben said he's already recorded Faith, his wife, her guess of what's about to happen in that movie, and then her thoughts after the movie.
Yeah.
And then
so she one of her guesses was
tease.
That's hilarious. I think that he was going to become a coach for another underdog.
Ooh,
but
Rocky 5 though.
But for Rocky 2 or 3.
But good for her. She's actually
but I think something like that.
Wow,
yeah.
Good for her. Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
So people don't know what's going to happen.
No, they don't. So the boxing commission says your boxing commission knocks out Rocky, and they will not sanction the fight. They told Rocky to wait 2 years, so they don't want to sanction his fight with Drago for whatever reason. According to this headline, they're saying wait 2 years.
So this was in 85.
Yeah, this paper came out in 1985. This is the New York Post, America's fastest growing newspaper. Its average sales exceed 900,000.
Wow.
Yeah, good for them.
I'm sure it's not that anymore.
No, probably not. Okay. So, the boxing sanction does not sanction this fight. So the question was asked to Rocky, does the title not mean anything to you anymore? And then Rocky says, not until this is over. So he does indicate that the title means something to him, but right now, all he wants to do is kick the crap out of Drago.
Sure, yeah.
This is where some Rocky purists have a hard time with Rocky 4. Because Rocky's not revengeful, that we know of so much. Like him as a character, if you think about who he is in Rocky...
No. Of course he's revengeful.
Okay.
That's established in Rocky 1. Going the distance.
Revenge?
Yes.
Revenge?
Of being the underdog. Showing that he's got something. Show himself.
It's not that he doesn't have a backbone.
No.
I'm just saying...
Don't you think that's revenge?
You're about to throw down with me here.
No, do you hear what I'm saying, though?
I hear you. I guess it... Anyways. Okay, so yeah, he gives up the... So we got Matt chiming in, Matt Biller. He goes, who the hell picks it up and gives it to Union Kane? So yeah, he's talking about the belt. So somebody took the belt from Apollo's casket, and Union Kane, as we know, gets the belt in Rocky V. Okay, so
The funeral director. I think
the funeral director sold it on eBay.
sure. Yeah, no, I think Rocky 1 is revenge.
So next,
You want to drop this?
no, I don't think Rocky wants revenge. I don't. That's fine. I don't think it is.
Okay, so when somebody says
Not revenge.
no,
though.
when somebody says to themselves, "I want to see what I can do. I want to show people what I've got."
Right. That's determination, spirit. Revenge has a. Revenge has a.
Do you think he would?
Revenge has a selfish, and I mean in a negative way,
Uh-huh.
kind of connotation. I mean, I've been wronged, and I want to exact revenge on that person who's wronged me. Rocky was never wronged in part 1.
Do you think he would have fought if nobody was watching?
Apollo?
Yes.
Yes. I think he would have. I think his performance in the ring. I know he said that he wants to not be another bum from the neighborhood. I know, but I don't think it's revenge.
Well, living your best life is the best revenge.
I would almost argue then he avenged his own upbringing, his own life.
Sure.
Or you could say, if you really want to be
Okay.
psychological,
Maybe I'm using the word wrong.
his revenge was on his own upbringing, his
Yeah.
own self, his own. I've never heard it used that way before. Maybe we'll let our listeners
If
chime
I was
in.
a more educated man, I'd have different words. I'm just
Yeah.
a ham and egg, brother.
Yeah, so Matt agrees with Ryan. That's okay. He says not a whiff of revenge in Rocky. Maybe it's just not the right word, because he says redemption, resonance, reason. It's good.
Well, there's some
Good.
reason there.
Yeah.
Half
So-
the word's right.
Well, we've lost all our viewers except for Matt probably at this point. So thanks, Matt, for staying with us. But anyway, so it says here in the next magazine, bomb threats, protest Russian presence. Russian wife fears for her husband's life. I love it's just the Russian wife. Like, they don't even say Drago's wife. It's like the Russian. That's, death from above. It's this big looming picture of Drago. Boy, they really, yeah. All right. So, Man 3 says here, Coach Rimsky, considering Rocky's known punching power.
Considering Rocky's known punching power, do you still think this is going to be an easy fight?
Yes, of course. It's a matter of size. Look, isn't it, gentlemen? Bravo.
So the question was asked, hey, look, Rocky's no slouch here. Do you still think Drago can beat up Rocky? Oh, where are you going? Don't. Oh, okay. So the question was asked here, do you think Rocky's going to be an easy opponent? Apollo fell down fairly easy. Is Rocky going to be an easy opponent? And the coach says here, well, it's just a matter of science. Drago is the most perfectly trained athlete ever. So they're thinking it's a matter of science. So my question to them would have been, like, if your guy can just beat up everyone willy-nilly, then where's the competition in this? Do you hear me?
I hear you.
So I know you're reading the chat here. That's fine. So it says here, Doug says the action of inflicting hurt or harm on someone for an injury or wrong suffered at their hands from dictionary.com. Okay, so the action of inflicting hurt or harm on someone for an injury or wrong suffered at their hands.
Sometimes we'll take revenge on, I don't know.
I guess in that, according to Doug, that kind of leans towards you. Definitely Rocky inflicted hurt and harm on Apollo, broke his ribs, smashed his face in. He was definitely injured. And you could say he was wronged a little bit because he was humiliated a little bit by Apollo thinking really less of him, not taking him seriously.
Well, when I was in my 20s, I ran for a bit. I can't run anymore.
Cancer.
For
all of our listeners, we should have like a cancer count.
Like a drinking game.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I remember when I took up running, I felt slighted, and I took like revenge on the asphalt.
So you punched the asphalt?
No, like just running.
Oh, I see. You metaphorically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just to show people I was not another bum from the neighborhood. You know what I mean?
You're not, Ruben. You're just not another bum from the neighborhood.
No.
So Drago is the most perfectly trained athlete ever. He's not bad, but is he the best in the world?
When I was in my 20s, I had a physique similar.
Yeah, when I was Ivan Drago's 28 here, or Dolph Lundgren is. If you saw a picture of me at 28, you would,
It's the same.
Like I trained at Mighty Mix, so I'm not gonna lie to you.
The most perfectly trained athlete ever. This other man has not the size, the endurance, or the genetics to win.
So he says here that I figured out how to pause without that sound. So he says he does not have the power or the endurance or the genetics to win. So right now they're throwing at Rocky's face. They're kind of being harsh to Rocky, and Rocky's just sitting there. And this coach is basically, he's almost being harsher on Rocky than they were to Apollo in some way, which is weird because I thought they came here to fight Rocky because he was a worthy opponent. They're kind of contradicting their whole purpose of this visit, I think.
They're just talking smack.
They are, but I would think that because Rocky, a day before this press conference, was the champion of the world in a professional boxing heavyweight. So give him a little bit of respect, maybe just a little bit of Russian respect.
It's physically impossible for this little man to win.
It's physically impossible
Love it.
for this little man to win.
Guess who wrote that?
I know, Stallone wrote that dialogue.
I love it.
And you got this picture of Sly or Rocky looking at the coach like, and it's great though because Sly wrote this. He knows he's 5'3" or what. No, what is he, 5'8" or 5'6"?
I don't know.
I think him and Tom Cruise. That would be an interesting height comparison.
Drago is a look at the future.
There's been no mention of it yet, but how much are you making?
So the question is asked by a reporter. There's been no mention of it yet, but how much are you making for this fight? And of course, we know the answer is coming. We know how he is gonna react.
This fight. No money. It's not about money.
So
That should be a GIF.
That should be a GIF.
It's GIF.
Is it? No, the creator called it. We had this conversation
The
on our
creator
podcast.
of it called it a GIF.
I think he calls it a GIF.
Apparently, Sly's 5'9".
Okay, thanks, Doug. Slice 5. And hey, Owen, what up, brother? Hey, Lewis. Lewis is one of our biggest fans. Lewis, love you, brother. Thanks for your support. Anyways, so Rocky says he's making nothing for the fight, and there's a scene. Of course, you can watch this on YouTube. There's a scene where when Rocky says, "I'm not making any money for this fight. It's not about the money." Paulie, he's like, that double take.
I want to see some Rocky 4 GIFs. Put them in the.
Put them in the chat, guys. Give some GIF love.
Oh, Lewis just made it.
You just made it. Hey, Lewis.
Lewis,
You're half hour in, brother.
send us the link.
Yeah.
I'll use that
Yeah.
continuously.
Yeah, so give us. Oh, I think you just made it to the podcast or just made the GIF.
Either way, we're glad.
Either way,
Yeah,
Lewis, we're
thank you.
glad you're here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Has the fight date been set yet?
December 25th.
So the fight date is December 25th. Now, what I love about Rocky 4, it's just insane. None of it quite makes sense. None of it is.
Why would you do Christmas?
It's
Day?
like, why Christmas Day? Why no money? Why is his belt being gone? It's almost like I'm denying old joy.
Oh, perhaps that's the reason.
I refuse to feel
He's
any
gonna
joy.
Get back to basics.
I know, but
grow the beard.
Yeah,
You know what I mean.
We don't know about any beard yet, but the idea is that it's such a weird thing. Like, I'm going to ruin my kid's Christmas. I'm not making any money. I've lost my championship. Whatever reasoning I gave Apollo, I'm not going to give myself. It is a bit hypocritical for Rocky to do this. Right now, he has blinders on. His mission is to destroy, in his eyes, Drago.
Maybe that's the gift that he'll give everybody. Is
It's the GIF that keeps on giving.
wow.
Yeah, he just made it to the show. He didn't make it. I was going to say, if Lewis made a GIF that fast, that's pretty incredible.
Why Christmas?
So the reporter goes, "Why Christmas?"
Valid question.
Valid question.
That's what I was told.
Then he says, "That's what I was told." So the Russians don't. The Russians hate Christmas. They hate it because nobody can afford gifts there or GIFs. What you got going there, Rue? Oh, how's GIF pronounced?
Here.
It's in Russian.
So
It
It's
should
Jif.
it should be pronounced Jif.
It is
like
Jif.
like the brand of peanut butter.
okay, I stand corrected.
Hey, just because we're ham and eggers doesn't mean we need to talk like them.
That's right. Yeah. Well, you looked that up in a GIF.
If we had lots of money like Rocky did, then we start sounding smart.
Okay, so he now finds out that it's that the fight is in Russia, and Paulie goes, "Are you nuts?" So Paulie's just heard the news that this fight's making no money, and at the same time, it's in Russia. No Christmas, no money, and it's in Russia. Now Paulie thinks it's nuts. Paulie's acting like like Rocky's training in a minefield, like in Iraq or something. Like, it's in Russia, sure, but it's not like. like, anyways, it makes it sound like, if this was Star Trek, he's training on a Klingon planet from the original series or something. Like, it's not that dangerous, but whatever.
Rocky, what's going on? What?
So one of the reporters yelled, "Rocky, what's going on?" That's actually a fair question. What are you doing? Another man goes, "Why did you agree to this?"
Did you agree to this? We fight in Soviet Union, but we fight.
So we fight in Soviet Union, or we fight nowhere. How do you like that, Doug?
No one. Why don't you ask Drago's wife?
I love how they said here, why don't you ask Drago's wife why she is afraid? I love how they won't even call her Ludmilla, or Mrs. Drago, Drago's wife. Can you imagine, people were talking about your wife? Why did you ask Ruben's wife why and she's sitting right there, Drago's wife. I know maybe it's my 2018 goggles, but it's like they could have called her Mrs. Drago or at least Ludmilla.
It probably just fits the time,
Yeah.
the culture.
All right. So yeah, Doug likes my impressions. I won't give very many. Don't worry. Yeah. Polly's the unsilent majority, says Matt. I love it. Okay, so let's hear Ludmilla and what she has to say.
Why she is afraid?
I'm afraid for my husband's life. We have threats of violence everywhere.
Now, I love the animosity of the media. We have threats of violence everywhere. That threat of violence is probably real. Let's look at the threat of violence in our current political climate right now in the U.S. We're Canadian, Ruben and I. We don't have threats of violence here. We just throw snowballs at each other. But in the States, unfortunately, and throughout the world, but I don't want to get too political, but right now there has been bombs were mailed out or packages and stuff. So people do respond how they do. And so the concept of people feeling threatened if they are, saying things that's politically not what people want to hear in their country, it's not crazy to think people are threatening their life. One of the magazine articles actually said that they got bomb threats. But I love the media just hogwashing them. It's garbage. Your life isn't on. They're so blasé and angry that they feel threatened. Their lack of emotional, any kind of yeah, you get what I'm saying.
It's the 80s, man.
Yeah. So someone asked your Val, do you pronounce graphics? Yes, I do. Yes, I do now.
There's hard G's out there.
Hey,
there's soft G's.
Hey, Brent, what's going on? Brent is a guy I sailed with on the Vancouver. How you doing, brother? Yeah, you're in Greenwood now. Balboa, you're a paper champion. Okay, Brent, we're talking about Rocky 4, okay? He was a paper champion in Rocky 3. Now he's a nobody champion. He lost the belt from the commission here.
We're not in politics. All I want is for my husband to be safe. Treated fairly. You call him a killer. He's a professional fighter, not a killer.
So she just wants her husband to be safe. He's a professional fighter. He's not a killer. He's not a killer. He only killed somebody, 24 hours ago, but he's not a killer.
Yeah.
Fake news. Fake news. This is Russia. Russia really is great at just literally the man just killed somebody.
He's not a killer.
He's not a killer. He's a professional fighter. Like this happens all the time in the boxing ring. People just getting pulverized. I will concede that the fight should have been stopped. I will concede that the blood is on referee Lou's hands. Let's be clear, Lou Filippo, it's your fault that Apollo died because you should have stopped that fight. When you have a fighter with his arms down,
Creed 2?
No, oops, he's long dead. Oh, we lost her. Okay, stand by. Keep talking, Rube.
All right.
We'll say something.
Well, yeah. Well, I know. I wanted to keep on topic, and I thought let's see what people are saying. We got a thumbs up. There's really not much to say to that.
Hey, Brent. Thanks, man.
Yeah. I got thrown off. What can I say? I just got to get back on the horse. So Lou died, eh?
Who's Lou?
The referee.
Yeah, Lou's dead. I'm trying to get back to the... It's not letting me rewind here.
Well, how deep are we in?
Well, we're almost done. It's just a press conference. It's ending now. Yeah, you know what? We're done. We're pretty much done. That's the press conference. The next scene that we'll be covering is Mrs. Balboa comes home and she doesn't know about the fight or the fight, which is crazy. Well, since Ruben, you're here, and
yeah, I am.
If you agreed to fight the man that just killed your best friend in the ring on Christmas Day in Russia and didn't tell your wife about it, how much trouble would you be in?
Well, you know how Creed didn't want to be killed by his wife?
Yeah.
That would have solved the problem of me just going there.
Yeah, so my wife wouldn't be that crazy about it either. She barely lets me record a podcast, let alone fight a Russian on Christmas Day. So we'll just read the last of these comments. Doug said Apollo couldn't defend himself. Clear sign to stop the fight. Absolutely agreed. Absolutely agreed. Brent Kenny says, lucky the Russians didn't hack Polly's robot. They would have taken out Rocky Jr. That's great, Brent. Love it.
Oh,
That's great. Imagine that. You come home and like the robot strangling the kid. All right. Yeah. So Lewis agrees with us. He wouldn't go home to his wife either. So Rocky made a really kind of poor decision on the family here to make this fight. And he's going to hear about it, but we're not going to talk about it this episode. We're going to have a special guest for those who know. The hosts from the Super Ugly Show, they've requested to speak on this scene. So Ruben, they're going to chime in on the next recording. You may not be here for it.
what?
Sorry. I think the record, I don't know yet. I think it's happening at night, so you may be. So stand by for that.
We'll find out.
We'll find out. So that's his name is Rocky and Richie from the Super Ugly Show. Check them out on YouTube. They're crass but hilarious. And they specifically wanted to talk about the Robert Tepper montage. And if you were a first-time listener to our show, Ruben and I interviewed Robert Tepper. We interviewed the singer of No Easy Way Out. So you had a chance.
Fantastic interview.
Great interview, great guy. I kind of feel bad, all the stuff I said about him. That was part of the show. It was all in good fun. But go listen to the episode. It's fun. And stay tuned next week. I think we'll do this again live. I think it helped. I think it was fun.
Thank you. I'm glad to keep that edited in. He was trying not to do it.
No, anyways, I didn't know you wanted to go live though. That's all.
I'm game.
So if you guys like us going live, we'll keep doing it, I guess.
When you look this good.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening in. Thanks for chiming in. Thanks for liking us. And feel free to tell your friends and family about the Rocky Series podcast. Ruben, do you want to take us out?
Ding, ding. Hey, is this the one?
All right, boy. I hate our listeners. They're all such idiots. I don't know why they even listen to our show. Oh!
Bad acting.